everybody, and welcome to another beautiful, beautiful Sunday. Hey, and for some of you, it might be Monday if you're across the pond. So hello, everybody, and welcome to another at Nerdvana live show. I am Elisa Melendez, also known as Elisa Rockdock. Randy Pitchford is not here. He's out gallivanting and being fabulous somewhere.
He's been known to gallivant.
He does that.
At times.
He does that. And I bet you his shirt is currently fabulous. And so that is what he's doing. So I am here, and I'm sorry. Next to me, I have the incomparable Sam Winkler. Say hi to the people.
Hi, and I also apologize.
So we're going to have a really, really fun show today. Once again, for those of you that might be new to the show, Nerdvana Live is a call-in podcast, and we are actually going to try something a little bit new today. Not only are we going to be using call-in studio and the phone number right down here. Sam, would you like to Vanna White this real quick? There you go. There you go.
The popular Vanna White facial expression.
You can call us at 830-549-NERD. That is 830-549-6373. But if you are otherwise a person of the internet, we also have a new Discord channel up, and let's do that. So
I've heard web as in web citizen or denizen, perhaps.
Ooh, I like that.
Webizin.
I like that. So on our Twitter account, at Nerdvana Live, literally at Nerdvana Live, as well as the at Gearbox Software channels, there should be a link to our Discord so that you can join and be a part of the conversation.
Just participate.
You know?
Just be present.
Yeah, just be here with us.
Yeah.
Right now. So you can join the Discord as well, and we're trying something new, right? Like, hey, we started at least 5 minutes late.
Yeah.
But that's cool. We're just we're just doing some funkiness here.
Yeah, putting a spin on it.
And we're just trying some stuff out. So definitely help us test out both the Discord system and the call-in studio system. Make sure everything works and is hunky-dory. And we can already see some folks in the chat. I see you, Lowlines. What's up? Hello.
You probably did do something wrong. I just want to establish that.
Yes, you did. You did, Lowlines. You know what you did.
Yeah.
You know what you did, Lowlines.
Reflect on yourself.
So shout out to everybody both on Twitch and YouTube. If for whatever reason you're feeling a little shy, feel free to type questions for us in the chat, both on Twitch and YouTube, as well as our newfound Discord. But definitely pop in. For those that are hanging out on Discord right now, a few quick instructions. You will have joined the general discussion group, and that's where you can type with your words. You can speak with your words. You can speak your mind with words and phrases that may sometimes turn into sentences. Then, if you want to talk to us, there is a channel. There is a channel called Wanna Talk to Us? Join. You join that channel where you will be able to hang out and wait for the one Joe King, our screener, to swoop you in and carry you in his loving embrace, in his gentle embrace, into the screener room where you'll have a chat with him and we'll find out what it is exactly that you want to talk about, and then we're gonna plunk you into the live on air room, and that is where the magic happens.
Joe is very motherly. I just want to.
He really is.
His hugs always make me feel just sort of safe,
warm,
home.
It's comforting and inviting.
Nestled.
It's good. It's good times. Hey, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Shout out to Joe.
Shout out to Joe and Joe's hugs.
So that's how this is going to work. But of course, you can always call us the more traditional way.
That one right there.
With that phone number as well. We got options for you today on today. Now, before we sort of get into actually hopefully talking to some folks, one thing that I want to be sure that folks know is to be like, hey, you're Sam Winkler.
I am.
We can find you at that Sam Winkler on Twitter. But could you tell the folks what it is that you do? What would you say it is that you do here? What is it that you say you do here?
I am a writer. Which is sort of an all-encompassing term at Gearbox because it has to do with, narrative planning and actual script writing, and then we're heavily involved in casting and vocal directing and that sort of thing. So it's very rare that there is a part or a department at Gearbox that my job doesn't touch, but I usually come in and explain why people have to do things, and then they roll their eyes. And, yeah, the word narrative mandate gets thrown around a lot.
Ooh, that sounds cheeky and saucy. Narrative mandate. Okay.
But yeah, I basically have the best job in the entire world because I get to come up with stuff that I find funny and then see if other people think it's as funny, and then shuffle back to my room and do it better.
Awesome. So what kinds of things, what kinds of sort of previous work that people might be able to sort of check out examples of your narrative mandate?
Well, you could right now, if you wanted, go and play the Battleborn DLCs and play the 5 DLC characters.
Oh.
I wrote most of them with the exception of Ernest.
Ernie, my dude.
Yeah. Well, okay, fine. Yeah. No, Alani was my first one.
Oh, that's
my first
awesome.
character. I really want to get a tattoo of her, actually, just to sort of commemorate that. Yeah, the story DLCs with the 10 playthroughs. That was my first experience here at Gearbox. I was kind of thrown in the deep end very early on. That was a new form of narrative storytelling that for even Gearbox, and so me and the creative director of Battleborn, Randy Varnell, had to figure that out very quickly, and I think we executed on it really well, and I'm proud of it.
Awesome. Okay, great. That's fantastic. So now you're a writer. How do you become? How did you get here? Why is it that you have a Gearbox badge and it actually works?
Well, I had been writing for myself for a long time, and downstairs there is some events happening. So I wrote a book and I sold it, and you can't buy it, by the way.
Man.
Sorry. Parties unnamed sort of put it up on a high shelf, but I was in touch with Mikey Newman, former creative champion of Gearbox, and when an opening popped up, he nudged me and said, "You should apply for this."
Oh, that's awesome.
And then I made it. I did it.
That's
I did not sleep that night.
Aww.
They sent me the writer's test, and I basically went right until like 6 a.m., crashed for an hour and a half, then spell checked it and sent it in. Because I get that sometimes where you have to be able to go from either side of the scale as a writer of, I'm extremely enthusiastic about this and I just want to power through it and write for 8 hours at a time, but you also need to be able to iterate over the course of months and potentially years and be able to go back to the same thing over and over again, even if you're tired of it. Someone else still needs a new version of that. So that was a really interesting first few months getting into Gearbox and learning a new process, because when you're writing for yourself, it's pretty much only you and loved ones or friends who like, hey, will you please read this and tell me, and what you get back is, oh, that's great, honey, I loved it.
Oh, this is
fantastic.
fantastic. You should totally sell it on the Amazons.
And then here, or any situation in which you're writing professionally and other people's work is dependent on you getting your work done. One of my first experiences was writing battle dialogue, and so I sat down in the same room as Randy Varnell, and I wrote, I think, 100 lines, and I literally just turned my chair and said, hey, is this good? And then he read them and said, change this, do that, I love this, do more of that, and then get back to me in an hour. And that very rapid turnaround.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
In an hour. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
sure.
that collaborative process is fantastic, but it is very different, and so it's almost writing in a different language. But I love it. I seriously say that I have the best job in the entire world pretty frequently, but yes, I to this day I wake up going, how did I end up here? How am I doing this?
Yeah. High five on that, because I totally still like wake up every once in a while and I see the Gearbox logo on the stairs and go,
yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Did this really happen? Do you ever get like writer's block?
Yes, with specific things, but it's pretty rare that I can be frustrated and not put anything down on the page and not have something else to jump to. And that's really helpful because I can take like a long form script that just like isn't, becoming cohesive. It's not appearing on the page. And I can go, okay, I'm going to go over to battle dialogue or, descriptions of things or stuff that's even supposed to be only read internally. That's right. Like, so if I'm writing for fellow creators so that they can understand what it is they need to make, that's a very different type of writing than it is the creative, like an actor will read this and it has to be put into character. So it's pretty rare that I don't have something to pivot to, and if that doesn't dislodge something, then I just sort of go outside and walk my dog, stare at the sky.
Which, by the way, your dog,
Stella.
Stella.
Everyone at the studio knows this dog really well.
Stella's fantastic. I wish we had a picture of Stella to put up, but but maybe a follow at Nerdvana Live on Twitter. Maybe we'll post some post show pics of Stella just so that you can imagine just the majesty and the splendor. She's very compact. And kind of skeptical sometimes. Yeah,
she's a rescue, and even the first day that we actually had her, she barked at me a few times. Well, I'm tall and imposing, and I think I was like backlit, so I was sort of an ominous Slenderman style character. But she has like improved so much, and she'll just go up to so many people that she now recognizes from Gearbox. And I've even had people up on like the 3rd and 4th floor just sort of heckle, "Hey Stella!" Not "Hey Sam," who's walking Stella.
No.
Yeah.
I will generally always be the person that will greet the dog first.
Yeah.
I'm like, and what's your name? And how old are you? Not actually talking to the adult, but actually expecting the dog to answer, what's your name? How old are you? What kind of puppy are you? Because they're all puppies.
She's a rat terrier chihuahua.
Oh.
Yeah, she's very cute. She's also 3, so she's as big as she's going to get.
Oh, that's fantastic. She's great. Stella's great. I highly recommend. Everybody.
Shout out to Stella. Probably watching.
Shout out to Stella. Holding it down at home, chilling, probably. Doing something that you probably shouldn't. So speaking of characters, that we deal with in our everyday life, I'm kind of interested in the idea of how character design and what you're writing kind of interplays. Like, is it a weird chicken egg scenario where maybe somebody's like, I want Alani to be like this, and then you're like, well, in my head the character's kind of like this, and how does that kind of inform? You know.
It's very nonlinear in the sense that you're constantly talking to the people involved in making that character. It's funny, so my writing test, what I got was a picture of Alani, and they said describe this character.
Oh wow!
I only had a picture, a bit of concept art, and her name, Alani the Water Monk, and so I wrote that out. That was most of my writing test, and a while later when I got to Gearbox, I was like, oh guys, I gotta be honest, I'm really excited to find out what Alani's actual backstory is. Tell me all about her. And they're like, you wrote it, dude. Like,
oh wow!
And I went, what? I have to elaborate on this now. Okay, awesome. But yeah, it's really cool to be able to see even just a bit of concept and then extrapolate from that, and then be able to talk to the person who made that picture and said, oh, what if we went in this direction? What if we went in that one? But one of the things that I love is that everyone who makes something is a storyteller in a certain way, and so I never want to be that writer who comes in and be like, actually, I've got a much better idea for the character.
Tell me, say it exactly like that.
Fantastic. Dude. No, we try to. I try to keep the original artistic vision as close as possible. Obviously, I tweak to make everything fit. There might be things that just won't fit, but it's usually like a 15-degree tilt at most. And I love it when an artist can come up with a character and then I can bring it to life. And so the person to pitch Alani as a character was Anthony Nicholson, producer. Great guy. Shout out to Anthony.
He's great.
He's awesome. And he commented on it later. It was like, this is exactly who I wanted her to be. This is you did it so well. And that I completely ignored that because that was, praise, and I put that in a very small box and I throw it into the ocean.
Yep, same.
No, but like that is ultimately the best feeling when I can execute on someone's idea in a way that either that was not their job, or that they didn't have time, or something like that. If I can take that and run with it, and it still fits their original idea, then I think I've done everything to the best of my ability.
Nice. Is there a particular, because sometimes when I'm writing songs, I'm a songwriter. I'm in a rock band. I don't know if anybody knew that. But every once in a while, I'll write a line and go, oh
no,
or oh yes,
okay, yeah,
or just that slight turn of phrase that made me feel really, really clever.
Yeah, I don't think anyone gets into creative work in any format by completely hating everything that they do, right? Like I was joking about that, but like I think we all have imposter syndrome in a certain way.
Oh, totally. Everything I write and everything I do sucks.
Yeah, throw it into the sun. And I actually now want to hear some of these songs because world debut. No, just spit one out. Sure. What was I saying? No, we all have imposter syndrome at a certain point, but the way that we keep going is we pop something out, we just go, yes, that feels right. And even if that isn't the thing that you end up using, that you sort of ride that feeling to get where you need to. And that's frequently what I'm chasing, especially when I have to, like I was saying before, dart back and forth between different, assignments or different venues of dialogue that I have to work in. I'm usually chasing that moment, that feeling of like, yes, I've nailed this character, I've nailed this moment, like that feels really good. And it's also impossible to turn off. Yep. I've woken up at 3 a.m. in the morning, gone, I have to write this down. And then it makes no sense, even though it was very crystal clear up here.
Is there a particular line that you can remember that like made the cut and you're like, yes?
Okay, so yes, actually. It was literally the first line that I wrote for Alani, because I needed to sort of exercise it from my mind. And it was F word your sandcastle. I sat down in front of the VO grid and said, okay, gotta put myself in Alani's mind. Gotta like what's gonna be fun for the player to hear maybe all the time, constantly. And that line just popped fully formed.
By the way, you can curse on the show.
Fuck. No.
That's going to be somebody's ringtone somewhere.
No, but also, well, in the game, though, it is a teen-rated game.
Oh, that's true.
There is, it is bleep your sandcastle.
Love it.
And I wrote that on a Post-it note and put it over my desk so that it was written down and I never had to actually try to write it again. And then I didn't put it in the grid at all. And then like a month later, it was like time to finish the grid. We were like, okay, we're gonna record it soon. Like, gotta get it ready. And I'm just staring at sort of 20 empty spaces, and I look right up from my laptop screen.
This glowing Post-it. Fuck your sandcastle.
Yep. And that turned out to be a pretty popular line, which worked out for me. But yeah, sometimes those lines just pop out, and you're like, yes, this is who the character is. There were also just a few like. I did my best to sort of turn them around, but sometimes maybe I didn't do my best. I was listening a lot to Hamilton at the time.
Yes.
And so I
mean, who wasn't?
Right. Yeah, exactly. No, that was the moment where literally everyone was going, "Oh, I want to listen to this show. This is incredible. I want to see this show." Oh, I can't see the show at all. It's definitely like $1,000 for nosebleed seats. Guess I'll listen to it over and over again. So I definitely have like a lot of Hamilton sort of esque references in there, and because it spoke very much to this character who is this proud, like serene warrior monk who is also a complete dork. And actually has like a lot of like sort of social fears, because that felt very much to that character of Hamilton. He's like, yeah, I'm the freaking best, and hey guys, are you talking about me? Sorry. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that informed that a lot.
Awesome.
Sam Winkler, Bleak Ringtone. Excellent.
Yeah. Lowlines is currently creating both a wallpaper and ringtone based on fuck your sandcastle. This is so good. So now on the flip side,
Flippity dip.
are there things that you're kind of heartbroken didn't make it in?
I probably not that I could say. I mean, yeah, there's always a few things that I never cut something that I absolutely loved. Like I think everything that I've wanted to get in there has made it in some form, but there have definitely been lines that seem crystal clear in your head, and then once you get in the studio and the actor is reading it, and even if they say it the exact way that you thought, everyone in the room is like, no. Oh no, I'll say it exactly it. Okay. Jim Ferranda.
Hey, I think he's in the Discord right now.
Okay.
There is currently a Fury Potato in the Discord.
Yeah, you all
that I do believe is Jim Ferranda.
You all know Jim Ferranda, Oscar Mike,
yes.
Isaac, literally everyone.
Everything that is all that is amazing.
Yeah, so we were recording Oscar Mike in the Battle School.
Yes.
And which was a blast to write. So that was sort of my candy. Oscar Mike in the Battle School was the candy that I would go to when I was writing other things that was like that felt like more work. Like so for example, while I was writing Phoebe and the Heart of Ekinar,
right.
It wasn't that felt like more work. It was just there was a lot of like lore and plot that I had to structure out and sort of meet out in 10 different playthroughs, and man, that was a lot to deal with. Whereas Oscar Mike in the Battle School, I had story threads, but I also just like I was fun because I love writing one-liners for any mic. Clearly, multiple
mics.
Yeah, but so there was the one where I had them put on a podcast, and it was Baker Mike talking to Queen Mike about Queen Mike's recipe for was it go-go juice?
Oh my gosh.
Inspired like key lime pie essentially. Oh. And I wrote lemon flavored go-go juice, and maybe one of like the 10 people on the earth that would have caught this just happened to be Jim Ferranda, because he's like, actually, lemon is a trademark term from Coca-Cola. It means lemon lime. It was
wow.
there, but I had actually done that research, and they had abandoned the term a long time ago. But Jim Ferranda was the one to catch that in the studio, and we ended up going with lemon lime soda.
Oh, wow!
That was the one day I wasn't in the studio directing it. So I wish to death that it had ended up being Lyman, but I also love the fact that no one else in the world that I would have talked to about Lyman would have been like, oh, I think that's a Coca-Cola term.
Yeah.
We don't want to get sued. So even though I'm sad that it didn't make it in, I was really, really happy that he caught it.
That's amazing. Now, you sort of mentioning like working with actors. Do you ever find, same thing with the kind of like relationship between narrative and the character designer? When you get in the studio and start recording lines, how much opportunity is there for the actor to kind of maybe like improv around, or are things kind of set in stone?
There's
script?
tons. Jim Ferranda is a great example because. He at this point, at the point where I came in and was writing this, he knew Mike better than I did.
Oh my gosh.
And so he would like, oh, okay, can I do one more take? And then he would do it way better than anything I'd written. He came up with the voices for all the different mics.
Oh, wow.
And came up with the shticks for them. Like it was awesome. And the fact that he was able to keep that straight so frequently throughout like these hours of recording was pretty intense. You know, the difference between General Mike and Oscar Mike, and then Rachel Mike, and all that. And it's one of those things where once they inhabit that character, they frequently will know it better than I will, and I will definitely like listen to them when they say, I don't think that you would say it this way, or I think she might be more powerful here, or that sort of thing. Like, that's always the advantage of, one, working with awesome actors, and two, working with people who have been in the same character for a really, really long time. Right. And also, the first time that you bring in an actor for a character, you do have to sort of play in the space, right? Of sorry,
with me.
Sorry. It took me. Yep. Okay. Yep. It only took me about half an hour to bring out a Griffin McElroyism. But yeah, we'll play around with it and figure like, okay, you know, this is who the character is on paper. What's your style on it? And we'll just go over it as much as we can. So yeah, I'm a big proponent of both actors ad-libbing and also being like, actually, could we do a different version of this? Like I love it when that happens.
Nice. So speaking of working with people, we have our first caller. I'm super excited to take this caller. There's a note here. Usually Joe, our screener, writes notes for each person so that we can find out who they are, what they want to talk about. This note says simply, it's Isaac. So we're going to take this call and we're going to see how this goes. By the way, this is Nerdvana Live. This is a live call-in show. You're watching us on Twitch and YouTube, and this will become a podcast at some point. We're not going to edit this out no matter what happens, so let's see what we got. I believe we have Isaac on the phone. Hello, Isaac?
Hello there, meatbags. I see you're doing some sort of broadcast.
Yeah, we're doing that. How are you doing?
I'm doing just ducky. There's a question I have for the meatbag in the skinny pants. There was originally a line for me in the battle school thing. Whatever it was called, I don't really care because my line was cut out. Perhaps you'd like to tell that story.
Okay, yes, I would love to tell this story, Isaac. I'm so glad that you could take some time away from trying to destroy the universe to talk with us. This is fantastic. So we have a gag, and I actually realized that I did the same gag later in Phoebe, where Oscar Mike confesses to General Mike that he only reads books in audiobook form, and they have a conversation about audiobooks, and what ends up happening is they end up getting mad about when they're really cheap and they only use one voice actor for everything. And Oscar Mike has feelings about that, and General Mike has feelings about that, and Whiskey Foxtrot has feelings about that. Mm-hmm. And Isaac was going to have a thought about that. But it was, oh man, it got really obtuse too. Because the Isaac line was going to be, yeah, but sometimes they don't have the same voice actor playing the same character in different languages, so the joke doesn't really land. And then that was going to be where it ended. I got told no about that because I love the joke. We love the joke in the studio. It was hilarious. But we realized that maybe the localization team would not love calling in the German and French and Chinese voice for Isaac for a single line, making fun of the fact that the character had no business talking in that moment. But that is, to this day, when you say lines that I wish had been in there, that's probably the number one. Thank you for reminding me of that, Isaac.
Hey, Isaac, who are you talking to? Oscar Mike, would you please leave the room? I'm having a conversation. Hey, let me talk to him. Hey, it's good to talk to you guys. My cat's really holographic. I'll take my answer off the air.
Thank you, Oscar. Always good to hear from a bro. Yes, your cats are holographic. You have to understand that when you are living on a ship with a lot of different characters who, some of them are birds, and you don't want Ernest or Benedict getting chased around by a real cat. And on the flip side, at least one person there is a snake, and you don't want Pendles snacking on your cats. So it is actually for the cat's safety that they are entirely holographic. I don't make the call here. That's HR. Actually, they wouldn't have human resources on there, would they?
I mean, just Battleborn resources.
Yeah, take that up with BBR. I think that's I think that's probably your best bet. But there's Christmas is coming up, Hanukkah. I actually, what do you think they probably they probably celebrate candle nights, I think.
Yeah. It's a Solstice Day.
Yeah. Get them a nice firmware upgrade. They'll appreciate that.
This is so good.
That was the best. Jim, I love you.
Jim. Now, can we talk to Jim? Is Jim on the line?
Oh, yes, I am on the line, you guys.
Hey, Jim! Wow, thank you for calling in. How are you doing? And also, when are you going to be on this show? Because that's necessary.
Hey, I would love to be on the show.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, sometimes I play Dungeons and Dragons with Dante Silva up in that end of town on Sunday nights, but I think I can skip out of the game to be on the show.
I think that might be a really, really nice idea to have you on. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I miss you guys. I don't, it's been so long since I recorded anything out there.
Well, I'm sure we'll have to figure something out. I would love to work with you more. I love getting you in the booth and just sort of jamming. Like that was really the whole point of the Oscar Mike DLC is, hey, can we just have Jim come and hang out, and then we'll figure out the story and stuff.
Well, yeah, that was the most fun I think I've ever had. It was challenging. It was, can you come up with all these different mics? We spent a whole day doing that, not even recording anything, just figuring out who was who. But
yeah, and that was like half the
fun.
list too. I think we had like pro gamer mic and all sorts of things. Was it your idea to have?
Yeah, I totally remember Pro Gamer Mike. He never made it into the game.
R.I.P.
Wasn't he sponsored? Wasn't he sponsored by Go-Go Juice or something?
Yes, absolutely.
Clearly,
yeah, that
clearly would
be
have
it.
to be.
He was it you that came up with the idea for Queen Mike to always be on the loudspeaker? Because I thought that was one of the funniest decisions of all time.
Well, I remember we were trying to figure out Queen Mike's voice, and then I thought I was like, oh, somebody call up a campaign speech. Anybody's campaign speech.
Yeah.
And that's how we came up with the Queen Mike's. She's always doing the political campaigning.
Yeah, doing the princess wave the whole time.
Amazing.
Yes, that was good times, and that was I was talking earlier about sort of the first few months of me being at the studio, and that was a very early good feeling coming in here, is because the first session I think I had with you, Jim, was working on Oscar Mike's lines for the Atticus DLC, and that was really when it like hit the stride, and it like everyone was in the studio laughing, and I was like, okay, all right, thank God. I think I actually hit the tone. This works.
Awesome. So how many mics did there end up being, and how many mics got cut?
Lordy. Mike, do you know? Jim, do you know? See?
Okay, all right, let me see if I can go through these. So there's Oscar Mike, General Mike, Rachel Mike, Chef Mike, Queen Mike, Harold Mike, Fat Mike, Lone Shark Mike,
Lone Shark Mike,
Whiskey Foxtrot.
Yeah, Whiskey Foxtrot. Yeah. I think that was it. I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Fat Mike and Lone Shark Mike are my funniest like dumb jokes, I think, that actually made it into the like that was one of those jokes where I said sort of like out loud as I was writing them. This is this is filler. This is, no one will ever let me put this in there. Actually, it was Zoe, my girlfriend, who actually said loan shark when I was like, hey, what is some just occupation? Yeah, and that was what she went with. And I was like, okay, yeah, loan shark. All right, so he's like, he's just really pushy and that sort of thing. And then I'm like, wait. There's no way a Mike would understand what that meant. Like, understand that shark was not a literal term.
That's so good.
Yeah, Mike is such a space to play with. Like, it's so wonderful. I would love to get back into writing Mike anything, and I hope that that's something that I get to do someday, and get to record with you, Jim, that character. Because who else could possibly do that character?
A clone?
Sorry, a clone of you.
A literal clone.
Actually, yes, that's okay. I want to experiment. A-list celebrity recast. If tomorrow our good friend Steven Spielberg said, you know what, Oscar Mike, he's gonna have a huge role in Ready Player One.
Oh my gosh.
He's the new main character now. Who's your A-list player playing Oscar Mike?
What I would do is I would hope that, because in Transformers, Michael Bay didn't want Peter Cullen to be the voice of Optimus Prime until the fans basically just, he was gonna cast some, I don't know, big Hollywood A-list actor because, who wants to hear the guy from the cartoon, right?
Ugh, right.
So the fans basically, they petitioned and he bent and he's like, okay, I'll put the cartoon guy in the movies, and that's how you get the voice of Optimus Prime. So,
all right.
if I would hope to be Oscar Mike in a motion picture, but that's a tough question. How am I supposed to come up with that like on the spur of the moment? Come on.
I don't know. You're the actor. Ad-lib something.
Hey-o.
I get all the time in the world to write things. Well, I would definitely.
Yeah, I'm too detail oriented. You know what? I will tweet to you when I figure that out.
Yes,
like
please do
tomorrow
that.
Or something.
The fan cast. I want that very, very badly. I would be the first signature on that sort of. Oh, what is that site that
that change.org.
Yeah, change.org. Hire Jim Ferranda as Oscar Mike. Make things right. Don't put like Hugo Weaving in there or something.
Oh my gosh. That'd be great.
Wait,
though.
that's it. Hugo Weaving.
That's pretty good. But no. I would gladly take a Jim Ferranda today for an Oscar Mike tomorrow. I know, I'm just doing that.
Phrases.
Yes. Sure. So while we have you, we're going to take full advantage of the fact that you're here. So
okay.
If you have played, I don't know, like 20, 50, 55, how many people in battle porn, do you have, is it possible for you to have a favorite?
Jim's choice.
That's tough. That's tough. It's almost like, I would say my favorite. It's like a mood ring, depending on how I'm feeling that day.
Okay.
If I'm feeling very, very chipper, very happy, and then that, I would say Mike. But then if I seem angry about something, like the past 24 hours, I've been very Isaac. So
fantastic.
And if I'm tired of stuff, then that's Whiskey Foxtrot. And if I'm hungry, that would be Minrek.
Oh,
I was going to say,
sense.
sort of staring in the oven as something bakes. Be reborn as lasagna. Sorry if that.
But I guess while cooking, I would be Chef Mike.
This is everything. This is just so great. Just call in as a different person every show. Could you do that? That'd be great. Thanks.
That'd be fantastic.
Thanks. Be so good.
Yeah, I mean, I miss all of those characters, and someday, who knows?
Keep the faith alive.
Yes.
Keep the hold the mic torch high.
Kanye shrug.
They will live in me forever.
Oh, that's true. I mean,
until I die.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. At some point, we're gonna have to have you in here like breaking off a little piece of that like pro sports mic too.
Yeah,
just
shoutcasting.
Oh my gosh, it's too good.
Shoutcaster mic. Yeah. Yeah, but it's always good to hear from you. I'm excited to see you the next time that you're around here.
Yeah, I would love to see you guys. I miss you.
Awesome.
It makes me sad.
And hey, but before we let you go, is there anything cool, any cool projects that you're working on that you want to, maybe tell the folks out there that you'd like them to hear your dulcet tones on?
Rep your stuff.
Oh gosh. Well, I'd say
Anything you
most
can talk
recently you can anything I could talk about. There's some NDA stuff that I'm like totally blocked from saying anything until whenever. But the last 2 Funimation shows I played the dastardly Vander Decken, the fishman pirate captain of the Flying Dutchman in One Piece.
Wow.
And I was in this really great show called Sakura Quest that is about a small village in Japan that is their economy's going downhill, and then a crew of people is brought in to basically boost tourism. And I play a wood carver in the arts district in that little town. It's a cute show.
Did you go method for that? Did you have to learn all about wood carving and dowels and chisels? And I've run out of wood carver words.
The irony is that was actually directed by Thorne, or Caitlin Glass, of course.
Awesome.
So yeah,
Nice.
she cast me in this role, and for the first time in a long time, I played a human being, a normal human being with hopes and dreams not related to space or eating people or anything. It was great.
Wow.
Were you waiting for the twist where you sort of like Scooby-Doo mask off and you're actually a demon? And
No, there actually, and there was a love interest, I think, that was hinted at that maybe, who knows, a season 2 that was played by Elizabeth Maxwell or Phoebe.
uh-huh.
So yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it's a fun little show. So there are several former Battleborns in that show. So yeah.
I absolutely adore watching things and seeing people that I've worked with before. I just started. One of my friends hounded me until I watched Camp from Rooster Teeth, and I binged it all in a single day. And Elizabeth is the main girl in that. Nikki is the name. I don't know. I'm really bad with names. But yeah, she's fantastic in that. But I love being able to go. I know that person. That's me. The fact that I can still geek out about the people that I get to work with is, I think, a good sign.
Yeah. Yep. That's good. And we love geeking out with you, Jim. I keep seeing your note. It reads Isaac, so I keep wanting to call you Isaac.
Mr.
Well,
Sick.
you can if you want.
So good.
Fantastic.
So good. I still maintain that stream with you is probably one of like my top 3 highlights.
Oh, the popsicle stick faces. That was a dream.
Be sure to go to twitch.tv.
The highlight of that was the tea ceremony.
We have a lot of people both in the Discord and in the Twitch chat asking for a sort of tea ceremony redux here on this stream.
Look, I'm strapped in. There are OSHA rules here. You can't see it, but there's lava and spikes and lava spikes and
lava spikes and lava spikes that are preventing us from conducting a proper tea ceremony here in this studio.
Yeah. Also, my pants are too tight. I can't crouch. It's impossible.
So you know what? We might have to wait until you're physically here in the studio, Jim, to perform another proper tea ceremony for the people. Got to give them what they want.
Okay. So if I'm in there, the next time I'm in there, only if everybody does it with me, because I cannot tea ceremony alone.
Of course.
That's a group thing.
One must never
Yeah.
tea ceremony alone.
And one is never alone when one has a tea ceremony.
This is true.
In the spirit of teamwork, we shall tea ceremony together.
I love this. I love everything about this. I'm so happy. I'm so happy you called in. I'm so excited.
I'm so happy I can watch you guys.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And hopefully we will
Thank you
see
for
you
having me.
sooner rather than later. All right.
Yes.
Stay frosty.
All right, guys. You guys take it easy.
Mwah.
All right, great to hear from you,
Love
man.
ya. That was great.
I adored that. That was fantastic.
I'm so happy. I want him on every show.
Yes.
Every time. All of them.
The Jim Ferranda hour.
Yes. I mean we could just have that. Just print money. That's an Alani move, right? Making it rain?
Yep. Makes it rain.
For the podcast listeners out there, we are making a hand motion that is the equivalent of making it rain dollar bills on someone. There you go.
Really drew that portrait.
Thank you.
Just exquisitely.
Oh, I try.
Fantastic.
I try to keep it accessible for the folks listening at home. Fantastic. So that was awesome.
Yes.
And by the way, if you want to talk to us, you can please feel free to do so at 830-549-NERD. That is 830-549-6373. And you can also join our Discord, which would be helpful if we had a link up, but we don't because we were busy trying to get the internet to happen. But if you go to @Gearbox Software on Twitter or @Nerdvana Live on Twitter, there should be a handy dandy link to join our Discord, and you can actually talk to us on Discord. It looks like right now we may have such an opportunity to use Discord. I'm so excited. We're testing this out so that we can make this a lot more accessible for all of you to talk to us. And eventually Randy when he comes back. So hopefully we are going to get that prepped real soon. But in the meantime, what are you sort of geeking out on? What makes you feel like you're in your own personal Nerdvana at the moment? See?
That's very on brand.
I try.
Let's see. Well, so I am absolutely one of those people that's really guilty of not consuming media immediately when it comes out.
Ooh.
And so just last night I finished Stranger Things 2.
Oh, I'm on my way to doing that.
Oh, it's a delight.
I'm 2 episodes away from catching up.
Then I won't spoil much of anything. I think people are right to have some criticisms about it, perhaps, but I also just love being back in that space.
Yeah.
That's ultimately what it is for me. Is it keeps the exact same aesthetic from the first one. It has a lot to show us about the sort of this 80s small town culture. A lot of bit parts get these brilliant moments to shine that they never did in season 1. In particular, Mike's mom. I don't know if you've gotten to the bit with her, but she is hilarious in that. Like I'm really glad that actress got a scene to actually be sort of comedic and out there. I love catching up and being part of the discourse about media and stuff like that, but I also really dislike needing to do that. Otherwise, people will just be like, "Oh, conversation canceled. Bye." That is why I like Game of Thrones and that it still has a weekly. Okay, we all tune in on Sunday. We watch the show, and then we talk about that episode for a week, and so forth and so on. With the Netflix drop everything at once.
Yeah.
Here's 10 episodes, 12 episodes, 15 episodes that you have to watch, and the conversation. Every single conversation after any season of anything, whether it's House of Cards or Stranger Things, that sort of thing, I hear this conversation nonstop. It's, "Oh man, have you watched blank? Oh yeah, I'm on episode 8. Oh cool, I'm on 3.
Crickets.
Good.
Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah. It stifles the discourse, and then 2 weeks later, no one's talking about it at all.
Right.
Whereas Game of Thrones and other prestige television that still does the weekly system, it keeps it in sort of the cultural eye much longer, and it means that characters get discussed more, and there are more articles about it and reviews that are like, let's analyze this particular character's arc and let's actually wonder where it's going instead of going, let's take 10 hours straight of this character's arc and dissemble it, and it doesn't feel like we're having enough time to talk about our media anymore, which is a bummer because budgets are going up. like the quality is going up. The like we're getting more and more A-list actors who want to do television instead of saying I'm not touching that. And so the performances are getting better and better, and there's more shows with 100-person casts.
That's so true. I just realized it's like it used to be that TV is where careers went to die.
Exactly right. It was you were like, I guess I'll take this. Like
Yeah.
Exactly. But now it is where careers are made, and where like. I've seen so many that phenomenon where it's like a comedic actor or actress takes a serious role on TV, and then boom, oh my God, you have this acting chops that like maybe I wouldn't have taken seriously if I had just gone into the theater to see it. But when I have like a 20 episode season to go like, oh holy crap, Breaking Bad, like you're you can pull this character off so well. Anyway, that's my cranky old man. Like, they're dropping it. I don't have the time to watch all that. Like, yeah, I think that there's probably a medium to be found. I'm still waiting for the sort of mid-season finale thing to happen with Netflix and Amazon shows, where they start piecemealing them out in sections so that people can actually anticipate it, right? Like my anticipation for a new season of House of Cards, well, no longer applicable. Well, good. No.
Well, yeah.
Actually, yeah. Though, like, let's just pause for a moment and say, like, can we please just get House of Cards with Robin Wright? Like, can we please
100% for this?
Like,
and I haven't even seen House of Cards. I just want like Robin Wright to find happiness because I just kind of love her. So there you go.
Right. Yeah.
More for her, please. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah. But anyway, like I can't muster enthusiasm and anticipation for it that long. And yeah, I want to actually be teased a little bit by Netflix and stuff like that. So I think I hope they're catching on to that. I hope they're understanding that like they have this huge social media spike and then no one talks about it for the next year.
Yeah, because right, I have 2 episodes left of Stranger Things. And I was hearing all of these things like, oh, there's like the one polarizing episode.
Oh, yeah.
Have I? And I'm not entirely sure if I've even watched that one yet. Or is it one of those
maybe.
where like maybe this next episode I'll be like, oh yeah, that's what they were talking about.
So I'll say that. So you know how Stranger Things kind of moves from movie genre to movie genre, and how like different pairs of characters will be in different types of movies. Yeah. Where like this group's dealing with a conspiracy thriller, but this group's dealing with like a sort of teen murder mystery,
like pure monster movie.
Yeah, exactly. That sort of thing. So I think one of the reasons that the episode that you're talking about is polarizing is that they went into a different movie type than people, and that was the Warriors. They went into a Warriors style punk, Lost Boys style. Okay,
aesthetic. So I did just finish that episode.
So you know what I'm
I
talking
guess
about, right?
With the
with Kali.
Yeah. There was that whole like makeover sequence.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Exactly. So
I didn't see what the big deal was. Although what I will say is that I like a use of licensed music. I love a use of licensed music that is ironic, and there's also a certain thing where maybe there's like a lyric that hits just right and you're like, oh, this song is actually kind of appropriate, blah blah blah. I will say, and not to really spoil anything, I guess I don't know that this is too much of a spoiler, but using Bon Jovi's Runaway in that spot
fantastic
made me just kind of throw up my hands like, okay, like
we get it, like,
okay, yeah, totes okay, that's cool. Like it would have almost been funnier for them to use Love is a Battlefield in that sense, because the music video is a runaway story, and that I would have thought was hilarious and awesome.
It would have been a deeper cut for sure.
It would have been a deeper cut, and I can appreciate a deeper cut reference like that. And I'm a sucker for using licensed music in funny ways, and I'm always trying to like shoehorn in the next like ironic sad version of a pop song, or like do pop version of a sad song You know?
Oh, the modern movie trailer.
Yeah,
technique.
yeah. Of course, I'm trying to use that in kind of fun ways. But man, just every once in a while, when you put Runaway on a runaway, it's just okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's cute.
Yeah, and I think that was it. Is it was a ham-fisted episode because they had to tell the Lost Boys style punk movie in a little less than an hour, right?
Yeah.
And that was just very I have to meet this whole crew and that sort of thing, and I can see why that rubbed people the wrong way, but maybe it was because I spent a month or two people going like, oh, that standalone episode, that sort of thing, and I was like, oh, no, I like that. That was fun.
And then as soon as I watched it, I was kind of trying to look back and think, I wonder which episode they were talking about, and then I realized it was this one, and I go, it's no big deal. Don't see what I guess I get it, but.
Yeah, I think also people might have been responding to when I say ham-fisted, like when I feel like when you smash cut to a flashback in a show or a movie or anything like that, it can even though it's shorthand for like that's what this character is thinking about right now, it can feel really like talk downy to the viewer, like you probably don't remember this. It's like it happened a minute ago, or like yes, you have 2 seasons and I remember the thing from the first season. Like and that episode in particular was like
there was a lot of that.
Yes,
there was
constant flashback over and over and over again, and it's and sometimes it was
you didn't need 5, you could have just used the 1.
Yeah, exactly, and sometimes it was repeat, right? It was as she's realizing things, and like we've already realized it before we went into this sequence.
It's like we know it's cool.
Yeah,
we get it. Like girl, you're not gonna hear any complaints from us. You do not need to keep throwing back to that moment. We got you.
Although I actually to sort of sidetrack and go back to an earlier conversation is I think it's easy to be bothered by stuff like that, where it's like, oh come on, I get it, movie, like I'm smart, I understand it. But just as often, I've heard people complain about movies being sort of like uppity or pretentious and that sort of thing. And I would rather have a movie that like everyone gets and everyone feels the same way, and still have some people be like, oh, it was a little obvious. I would rather have that than people go like, man, I was lost. I was totally lost. And that is something I've run into a lot writing here.
I was about to ask, do you run into that where you're kind of like making this thing that you think is hilarious, but then maybe it just doesn't land with enough people? Or
all the time. I have written something directly for myself and spent a lot of time with that joke, and then I'll give it to other people to read, and they'll be like, I don't understand this, or like no one's going to understand this. Like also things going to be blowing up around here, like while this is gameplay, and when I got here, I very quickly ran into a wall where I had to approach things not necessarily as a player, but as someone who has to look at the wide the wide story of things, and go back to games that I played and go, oh wow, they hammered this concept 5 or 6 times. And I didn't feel like they were being hammy about it, or at least I didn't remember it. That's not what stuck with me. If I felt that way at the time, that was fleeting. And so I shouldn't be afraid to do the same thing now. And better safe than sorry. The player understands what they're doing and why the people that are talking to them are important, and why the people that they're fighting are bad, and that sort of thing. And so to constantly have to rethink of like, okay, I know I get it, but I've also spent the last 8 hours working on this one thing. Right. Is someone who experiences this in 10 minutes, are they going to get it? And so that's been the biggest learning experience for me, is basically understanding that it's not pretentious to repeat the stakes and the goals and things like that. We all do it in the best media. We will see these things restated over and over and over again. We go, oh, okay, all right. It's just that my mind no longer sees it once I get it, and it's just been repeated. So it sticks out like a sore thumb when it's like, you have to go through this. You have to watch this. You have to re-experience something you've already watched. I think we're more susceptible to it visually than we are like in dialogue. Anyway.
Yeah, there's a reason why it's called a hook in sound in like songwriting, right? It's like you have to have in sort of the catchiest music that you want to stay stuck in people's heads. You have to reiterate a motif and get that stuck in their heads, and then have them hate you for it. Yeah, and that's your job. Yeah. And if they're humming it, then you've done your job for better or for worse. So
you did the thing everyone wants to do. Yeah, you are thought about.
That's
you
are thought about. And there you go. Awesome. Now, of course, we find ourselves in a situation where we could tell there are some folks that are trying out this whole Discord thing. But if for whatever reason you have a question in either Twitch chat, YouTube chat, or in Discord chat, we would love to hear from you. Usually we want to talk to you with our voices and hear your voices.
Our sweet voices.
Yes. This is now an ASMR podcast.
It is not.
No. Nope. This is not. Do some light tapping on my phone case for you.
Crinkle tinkles.
Just get the crinkle tingles going. But if you have anything that you would like to talk to us about, whether that's, I know, maybe Stranger Things. I haven't seen the last 2 episodes, and I'm sorry. That's bizarre, right? Because that was the same day, I think, that like Super Mario Odyssey dropped, and
it was the
and
most
Assassins
media
dropped, and Wolfenstein dropped, and it was just everything all at once, and I was like, why?
Assassin's Creed, by the way, very, very good to see it going like. That was the vibe that I wanted from Assassin's Creed again. I think that not enough people played Syndicate because of the stuff that went bad about the French one. Unity.
The French one. Yes,
yeah.
Unity. Thank you.
Well, right. That tells you. I didn't buy it, but I've actually heard that the story is pretty good and that it got like kind of a rough deal. But Syndicate also got a really rough deal. I thought it was one of the better executed ones, and it's good to see that they took the time to like put the franchise on hold and say, all right, no, we're going to put an extra year to it, like because that is what people remember ultimately is, did you put out a rushed, flawed game on time, or did you put out like a really, really good, cohesive game later than maybe people wanted it? No, they only remember that, oh, you made a really cool game.
Ooh, great. Looks like we have our first, thank you for the just stretching it out and keeping it supernatural. We actually have our first Discord caller. I'm super excited to see if this actually works. We have Lowlines. I'm going to drag him into the chat here. We have Lowlines. We hear that they are calling from good old Australia. You're calling from the future, Lowlines. This is fantastic. How are you doing? Oh, gosh. Oh, no. Lowlines, no.
The conversation has to be carried overseas. It's sort of
it has to run through a series of tubes. You have to dig a hole straight through to Australia. Lowlines, I really, really hope you can hear us. Actually, let's do this. What is up, Lowlines? How are you doing?
I'm hearing you a bit, then it just sort of went.
Oh, hey, I think we hear you.
Okay, we hear you now. I was a silly goose, and I muted you.
Awesome. Yeah, I was just mid-conversation with Joe, and this is like, what?
I dragged you away from Joe to put you in this room. Hi, you are live on the air. You're live on Nerdvana Live, Lowlines. How are you doing today?
I'm all right. It's 9:12 a.m. Monday morning here.
Ooh, that's rough.
Good
Sorry
morning.
to hear about that.
It's all good. I've got a question, sort of a general question. This is based on a panel I saw at Pax Australia today. Sorry, not today. This year. So there was a panel at Devs, and it's sort of like talking about what their sort of their mornings are like, to sort of give you an idea, what the dev life's like. So I suppose my question here is like, to both of you, is when you wake up in the morning, what do you sort of do, and what's your sort of thought process before you go into work, you know. Just
Wow.
sort of.
Before I go into work.
Before we go into work?
Well, it could be anywhere from, you know, like what you think about when you're having a shower to what you're having for breakfast, anything like that. Like,
Oh,
it's just a
okay.
sort of,
All right.
I love this question.
You want to go first?
Sure.
All right.
Okay. So I wake up in the morning, my alarm gives out a warning, and I don't think I can make it on time. No. So I wake up. Usually it's my cat's fault. I will have snoozed the alarm a couple of times, and then the cat says, "Hey, you're actually supposed to be up right now." On a good day, I would have prepared my outfit the night before. And I usually prep my outfit based on the kind of mood that I want to convey. Sometimes I feel like I need an extra boost, you know, like maybe I'm feeling run down and I'm like, I'm going to wear my power boots today. Sometimes, depending on how the night before went, I may have some residual makeup that may actually be able to carry over, which is a good thing because then that saves me some time. So then I have a vanity where I have all of my makeup laid out, and usually when I paint my face, and it is a paint, I'll have a like some sort of scented oil or something that I'll turn on, and it's usually sweet baked goods. I like to get ready with the scent of sweet baked goods, and then I'll get ready and I'll put on my face and I'll do my hair, and that'll usually take about an hour and a half. And I don't like to be rushed, but the idea is that when I paint, I'll try to actually think of what I might be doing that day, and usually if I know I'm going to be on camera, then I'll usually end up wearing contacts, and potentially having like a stronger eye look, because the glare on my glasses gets weird, right? I don't know. Or usually I like to paint with the idea that I could potentially be on camera for something, because with my job I don't actually know sometimes. Like if I have a stream, I'll usually have like at least, like a month or two that I know that I will be on camera this day. But sometimes it's like, I don't know if you realize, but Desert Bus VR is out on Steam, and somebody wanted a shot of someone wearing the VR headset playing Desert Bus VR. And I got called to be that person that day to take the picture of me wearing a headset.
So
and
you have to just sort of make sure that from here down is exquisite.
Sure this is pretty good.
Yeah.
Make sure like my hair is okay, because you never know, right? Because every once in a while, like, maybe there'll be like a camera crew in the studio, or there'll be, other folks doing other stuff. I just kind of want to be like ready for it, but also because makeup makes me feel powerful. In a certain way, and kind of like elevates my mood a little bit. So that's kind of what I'll do. And then while all of that is happening, my lovely producer, handler, tech guy, this guy over here in the background is preparing my lunch and my coffee. Because without my coffee, I am nothing. and it's not so much for my own protection that I drink coffee. It's more for everybody else's protection around me that I have my coffee.
Don't talk to me until I've had my
Don't
coffee.
talk to me until I have my coffee.
Fantastic.
So there's that. And then I actually started doing this thing where I bullet journal. And I have a journal where I write basically my daily tasks every single day. So then that's kind of the first thing I do when I come in is I put my lunch in the fridge, I sit down at my desk, and then I look at my daily tasks and be like, okay, what are the things that I have to get done for today? Write all those down. Make sure that I chug my coffee, and then I'm usually good to go, smelling right and looking right and feeling right. And then that's the vibe. Now, Sam, how long does it take you to put on your makeup in the morning?
Well, I put on my face, which I keep in a jar, and I just put it. The Red Skull has been a huge inspiration for me. I do want to go back. Sorry. So do you actually put on baked goods to bake, or do you have a scent?
No. It is like it's one of those like oil diffuser things where I put in like a little wax puck and then it melts the wax and the wax is scented.
Oh yeah,
like a baked good.
The wax melter. Yes, no,
yes.
I have that sort of thing as well, but it's always festive. Well, no, it's always like a few months behind. So I think I still have sort of the harvest October stuff in there right now. Okay, yeah, my day is the exact opposite. I wake up as close to the time where I need to be in the office as possible, because my entire routine is sort of fling myself into the shower and hope that wakes me up, because I am the least morning person that has ever existed. There are many people who can attest to this, who have tried to interact with me. But I'm very bad at mornings, to the point of like I know how bad I am, and then I will prep. I might even buy fresh fruit or bagels or something like that, and then I don't make or eat any of it. I walk to work, and I come into Nerdvana coffee.
Oh, wow.
And it is to the point where they will see me walking across the parking lot and start making my iced cold brew, because I only ever get it the one way, and it will be waiting for me by the time I have opened the door.
That's amazing.
Yes, it is. I will confess right now to the fact that if I like made cold brew at home, or if I had like one of those Stumptown pre-made like cream and sugar ones, that sort of thing, I have walked the long way around the building so that they wouldn't see me and start making my coffee.
Oh my gosh.
And I didn't have to come in and be like, oh yeah, sorry guys.
I mean, then you just double fisted at that point.
Yeah, well, that's a different scenario that people interact with me later on. But yeah, the opening hours of my day are the most drone-like sort of 1984 Fahrenheit 451, like I am barely a human, and I don't even recognize that there is humanity around me. And I always try to do as good an impression of a human as I can, especially if I have an early morning meeting or something like that. But it's very, very important that I get that cold brew.
Don't talk to me before I've had my cold
literally
brew.
It's not even like you'll get your head bitten off, but like you will very rapidly realize you would have more benefit talking to a toaster, and you'd have a delicious snack at the end. But I try to get out of that phase as soon as possible, and that's so I know plenty of writers who are like, chipper, and they wake up at 6 and then they do a little workout.
6?
Yeah, well, yes, it happens. Apparently they make time before 7 in the morning. I cannot confirm this independently, but I know so many people who swear by sort of the process of wake up, go to the gym, take a shower, write for an hour, eat something, go into work. And that makes sense to me in terms of like the mechanical properties of a human body, but I can't make it work. I'm so bad at it. It's also why I end up staying up till like 2 or 3 sometimes writing, because I'm such a night owl. When I write, that's my brain, my sort of creative writing brain, when it's in terms of I have a script to write and I'm going to just power through it. That is when I like 10 p.m. onward. That's when I actually do it. It's not that I'm not creative otherwise, but before that, that's when I start darting between tasks and that sort of thing, or gravitating towards bite-size things. It's very hard for me to concentrate until about 10 p.m. and then I just dial in like I have horse blinders or something.
Nice. I don't know, Lowlines, does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, that was pretty good. I mean, it sort of, I don't know, it sort of gives you an idea, because like the way the panel was done is you had 4 different indies from different levels of indiness, and so you can sort of see what their job is like just from a quick look into what their morning is like. Some of them it's like they just they just don't want to think about anything. They just want to, like have that breakfast, and their only thought is about what their lunch is, whereas others, they're already planning the whole week ahead, It's
I mean, to be an indie developer, you have to have a lot of sort of self-regulating discipline. I will say that there's a different type of discipline when you're in, a much larger a much larger company, where a lot of people are relying on me to get my work done on time and be able to iterate fast on that. Like There was a time where even late into my 20s, like I would stay in bed until 11:30 because I was only writing for myself in terms of time. But you can't do that when there are dozens, maybe even hundreds of people. Like if you don't do this thing, then people can't do their jobs.
Right.
And that is a certain terror and just basic respect for people. Like people are trying to do their jobs and they need you to do your thing. So that. I had to internalize that very, very quickly, and it worked, and which is great, and the magic of coffee assisted me quite a bit. But I imagine that for an indie developer, that's a very different sort of push, and it must be nice to be able to sort of relax and do your thing, but it's also if you don't hold yourself accountable, there's no one going why aren't you at this meeting? Why aren't you doing this? This is supposed to be, this is a priority one, that sort of thing. So, I imagine that most indie games that actually end up coming out are probably made by the people who either have that discipline or have someone who can put that pressure on them. Yeah. Because the sort of tortured creative genius who sleeps until noon, I'm sure that their product is awesome, and maybe I'm talking out of my ass, but that sounds like an idea person who never wants to hold themselves accountable.
Right.
I don't know who is on this panel. I kind of want to watch this now specifically because I am constantly wondering what are the good habits of a game developer, and questioning my own habits because clearly mine is working kind of. I need to be better about getting some food in me before I get into work and that sort of thing. My first proper meal should not be lunch.
Yeah. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
Unfortunately, it's just one of those ones that didn't get recorded, but I did try and do a live tweet, so I could probably share you with that later.
Oh yeah, definitely share it with us. If you tweet at the both of us, our info is here. You know where to find us, low lines.
if only we were on the internet somewhere.
But we have a little bit of time, low lines. You got anything else for us, or?
Not very good on the spot.
Well, actually, I have a question for you. So it's about actually PAX Australia. Were you able to physically go?
Go to PAX.
Were you able to go to PAX Australia?
Oh yeah. This is my third year going.
Oh, that's awesome. I've been really involved in PAX in the U.S. I've been to all the ones here up to 4 with PAX Unplugged recently in Philadelphia. But I've always wanted to go to a PAX Australia. Would you recommend it? Is it a great experience?
It's got a very strong indie dev sort of focus, and it's it's set in Melbourne, which is the indie hub of Australia.
Oh, cool.
So, and the other cool thing is if you come down early, you can also go to a thing called GCAP, which is a much more smaller version of GDC, which hasn't quite blown out yet. So, and it's all part of this thing called the International Games Week. That goes for the whole week. I haven't gone down early enough to go to all of it, but there's lots of really cool stuff going. If you sort of got a block of time in I think October.
Yeah.
And you can afford to go to Australia.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who do go to PAX Australia, and that's the kind of thing.
That's what they do for the year.
Yeah,
probably.
exactly. You plan that a year in advance. You decide whether or not that's going to be the thing you do, right?
Yeah.
And both me and my girlfriend Zoe, we've kind of kept doing that where it's like, oh, maybe next year I think we're gonna do that, and then obviously we don't end up doing it. But I really want to go, not just for PAX, but like primarily for Australia. Everyone I know who comes back is like, oh yeah, I spent an extra week and I actually got to see the sights and I got to eat the most amazing food and that sort of thing. So that's to make that trip. To make that and when I say trip, like the journey,
yes,
to make
trek.
that journey, I think that you really got to squeeze the most time out of that trip.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome, Lowlines. Well, it was great talking to you. Thank you for helping us test out our Discord situation here.
It worked.
Now, I had a few issues because I was using the PS4, the little microphone that came with the console. It's like it's a headphone thing, yet didn't register any audio. So I'm currently running straight out of the Max built-in microphone. So what that meant is if anything happened in here, you would have all heard it. So nothing happened.
Well, there you go.
Smooth sailing.
Working as intended. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Lowlines. Thank you for helping us test out Discord. Thank you for the awesome question. I never actually really thought about like how our different morning routines could kind of set us up for the day. That was a really awesome question.
The fact that you spend an hour and a half doing literally anything before you come in here is amazing to me.
I do, because it's important because my mood in the morning sets me up for sure for the rest of the day. And that could be something from like, I'm also, I don't know, I feel like I'm kind of like a woo-woo lapsed, witch in that sense. And I almost feel like I'm performing like an actual elaborate incantation on myself to power myself up.
You're invoking the muses. Right? Like
yeah,
okay.
While I bake my concealer and everything. But yeah, it's everything from
bake.
Yes, so you put concealer under your eyes and then you put powder on it and it's sort of this like you put an excess of powder on it so that it kind of like locks in the concealer extra hard. And it's called baking because literally the temperature of your face kind of rises and it kind of bakes the powder into the concealer. There you go. Pro tips.
I'm learning
you get
so much.
everything. You get everything on at Nerdvana Live up to and including this. But yeah, even though, and it's also interesting, we have no time for the rest of this discussion.
Oh.
But it's the idea of like, I love having my 15-minute commute. Yes. Because that even gives me time to like listen to songs that pump me up on the way in and like, have it's basically I just perform like a very elaborate training montage makeover sequence in my home every morning and that's how I roll. And that's why you get this. For better or for worse, I guess. So thank you so much for that insightful conversation, Lines. We enjoyed hearing from you, and we enjoy from hearing. We enjoyed hearing from Jim Ferranda today.
That was awesome.
That was super great. We enjoyed hanging out with all of you in the chat on Twitch and Discord. Shout out to Mental Mars. Who else is in there? We have multiple Fury Potatoes hanging out in a variety of chats. Shout out to Left Circle. Up in here in the Discord as well.
Joe K GBX, whoever the heck that is.
Some guy, just some guy named Joe.
Sounds handsome though.
Shout out to Evan in the chat, hanging out in the chat on the tech, recording us and making us look and hopefully sound way better than we actually are as people. And thank you to all of you watching at home. Thank you, Sam, for hanging out with me today.
Ain't no thing.
Literally pulled you from your dog walking session and said, "Hey, I need to talk to somebody on Sunday. Can you talk?"
I hope that I have demonstrated that I cannot, but I would love to come back anytime you guys want. I don't know when Randy's coming back, but I would love to join you two at some point. I don't know if there's a third chair somewhere, but yeah, this has been a lot of fun. I loved it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you so much for hanging out with us and bearing with us through all of our technical difficulties and all that jazz. But this This has been at Nerdvana Live, our live call-in show. Thank you so much for joining us. It happens every week, every single Sunday at 4:30 Central Time, whatever time that is for you. We do appreciate you hanging out with us. So we will be back next week with another blisteringly awesome show that will only be made better if you call in and join the conversation. It was a pleasure nerding out with all of you. I've been Elisa.
I've been Sam.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We'll see you next week.